Hey everybody, we're gonna see a few people get on here and then I'll get started. You guys, I don't know why I'm nervous, but I'm kind of nervous. Okay, it looks like hopefully I'm in the right place. Give me a thumbs up if I'm in the right place. Hey Neely, hey Alexandra, hey Aspen. Okay, it looks like a few people are getting on here. So thanks for watching, you guys. Hey Rachel. I get very distracted like a lot of people do with the comments. So I'm gonna try and thank you, Neely. I never wear my hair straight, and I actually, if my hair's straight like this, you know I just washed it today because I never wear my hair straight, but thank you. But I get distracted obviously with the comments. So I am going to try and answer questions at the end, and hopefully for the most part just say what I have to say so it doesn't take forever. I'm going to keep this, hopefully keep it under 20 minutes, 20-30 minutes, and then open up the end for discussion and kind of a Q&A. Hey Bobby Joe. But to start, my name's Melanie, if you guys didn't see my little introduction thing, but I've been an artist with the company almost since the beginning. I hit my year mark a couple weeks ago. So I love this company and this team for lots of reasons. And I feel like, I guess I don't necessarily know why I was picked to teach this class, but I do feel like I've somewhat learned some tips and tricks over the year. And I've educated myself on makeup and on different types of makeup, and I try different types of makeup all the time so that I have answers for people, and I think that that's definitely helped me be successful in selling the makeup and sharing the makeup because of some of the things I'm going to talk about tonight. So my subject is troubleshooting the makeup itself, and I'm not going to go into color matching a whole lot or anything like that, although that I will say right off the bat that color matching is oftentimes a huge reason why someone's not getting a great application. So but I'm not like, we're going to have another day and another class and another trainer teach about color matching, but I'm going to kind of give you some tips and tricks of the makeup when the color is right, and hopefully it'll help you a lot. And when we do have the color matching class, then you'll really feel like solid in application and color matching and all that goes into it. But I do want to keep it mostly to my subject and not get off on too many tangents. But I'm going to first start with the fact that this product is a cream. I hadn't ever really tried a cream before this. I had tried every type of makeup, I feel like, and high-end brands and cheaper drugstore brands, liquids, powders, like everything. So, and I have always been a big makeup person, so switching to a cream is still kind of been a learning curve for me. And when I look at my makeup a year ago to what it looks like now, even me who went to beauty school, have always been into hair and makeup and doing weddings and bridals, proms, formal stuff. It's even been a little bit of a learning curve for me. So if you haven't got it down, don't worry, you are not alone. But it is a cream, and there's so many benefits to it being a cream, but there's also some tips and tricks to the application and to getting it to stay on and last all day, and I'm going to go over some of those. So I'm just going to talk about, and I took notes because there's a lot that goes into this, so I'm just going to say the facts about it being a cream. Kara's mentioned this a lot, but the skin, or the cream, allows the skin to breathe. And if you educate yourself on this type of stuff, and not just from Maskcara, do your own research as far as researching why creams are good for the skin, what kind of skin types are creams ideal for, and and then you'll feel confident in answering your own questions and your customers' questions when they do have issues or trouble with the application. Okay, so but a cream foundation lets the skin breathe. It's really healthy for the skin. It's moisturizing. It acts as a second skin. It gives really great coverage, but yet it feels pretty light on the skin. Most of my customers and clients say, I can't even hardly feel it. They go from using, you know, Bare Minerals to a cream, and they're afraid that it's gonna be too cakey or too heavy or feel like a mask, and they're always surprised at how well it covers but doesn't feel like a heavy liquid. And because it's moisturizing, it doesn't dry out the skin. I was kind of thinking of it as, because if you've ever heard of, let's see, it's called Estee Lauder Double Wear Liquid Foundation. It's one of the top selling foundations on the market, liquid foundations, and it's expensive, but I have people ask me about it quite often, and so I have to try it for myself to see what it feels like. So I did. I bought it a few weeks ago and tried it, and it gave me great coverage, but it's very drying and it's very cakey feeling. It feels like I'm wearing a mask. It almost feels like it's you know, pulling on my face because it's so drying, and like it looked yeah, cakey and kind of dry under my eyes, whereas mascara is moisturizing. It lets my skin breathe, and it may take time for yourself or your customers. It usually does take time for them to get used to a cream if they've never used one, but once they do, or once you do take the time to get used to a cream foundation, you're gonna see that the benefits of it in the long run. Like I said, what it looked like on my skin a year ago to what it looks like on my skin today is night and day. And I liked it then, but I love it now, and it's just because my skin has gotten used to it. I was thinking of it kind of like, I obviously, if you saw the first of this, I don't wash my hair every day. And if I did, my hair would be really, really dried out. If I was taking out those natural oils every single day, and that's kind of like what a drying Estee Lauder liquid foundation does. It takes it's very drying, and almost, it just felt itchy. It almost felt itchy and irritating because I was stripping it. It just feels like my hair, if I strip out the natural oils, then my body overproduces oil. And if I go a day without washing my hair, or if you've never went a day without washing your hair is really oily, and you have to get used to it or acclimate to it. So at first, their skin might be a little bit oily, or they might feel a little sticky. But if they give it time, their body's going to adjust. They're not using that over drying, really mattifying, harsh product. Their skin's able to breathe, and their skin is moisturized. They're using something that's good for their skin, and it is going to take a few days or even weeks for their skin to adjust to that, and for their body to stop overproducing oil, and for it to, you know, go on and stay on really well. Okay, so I was going to say that though too, myself and so many other people, if they give it time, their skin will improve. My skin has never really been better in my entire life, and that's due to the skincare line hugely too, but as well, even before the skincare came out, my skin got so much better after switching to Maskcara. But there may be a little window of time for customers or artists to get used to the product, and their skin may get a little bit worse before it gets better. But in the long run, if they give it time, it's definitely worth it. Okay. But I was going to say is that I am not naive to think that this product is going to work for every single person in the world, or, you know, in my life, because there is, just like Kara has said, she isn't going to put hypoallergenic on the product because there's going to be someone that's allergic to something in this product. So, but I do truly believe that unless it's an allergy, a skin allergy, then this is the best product on the market for every age and every skin type. But like I said, I have had one person that had an allergy to it, and she just couldn't wear it. You know, it is what it is, and you have to let that go. But unless it's a true skin allergy that they know that that's what they're allergic to, if they troubleshoot it and get it right, they'll be so glad that they did. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about is the most important part. If people ever ask me, what is your favorite beauty product? Like if you couldn't live without, you had to pick one thing, you know, what couldn't you live without? And people think I'm going to say like concealer or mascara or something. And my answer is always skincare. It's always skincare. Because if you do not have a good skincare routine, if you do not have healthy skin, it doesn't matter how good you are at makeup. If you're a professional, you know, makeup artist, or you spend $100 on a bottle of foundation, or it does not matter if you don't have good skincare. So I always tell them skincare. Because if you have really good skincare and you have healthy skin, you could buy cheap drugstore makeup and make it look good. But if you have really bad, you know, if you don't take care of your skin, if you're sleeping in your makeup, if you're not cleansing day and night, if you're not exfoliating, you could buy the most expensive makeup and it's still not going to look great. So skincare is definitely my number one thing. And that's the things I recommend more than anything else, is to not sleep in your makeup, to change your pillowcase even a couple of times a week, to wash, tone, exfoliate, and you know, twice a week I exfoliate. I shave my face twice a month. I never sleep in my makeup, and in the morning I wash, tone, moisturize in the morning as well. Some people they don't wash again in the morning, so that's personal preference. If you didn't sleep in your makeup, you may be okay to go directly to makeup without washing again. I prefer to wash morning and night, but the point of that is skincare, skincare, skincare. And clean your brushes. Clean your brushes is so important, and keeping your brushes sanitary. Kara has mentioned this a ton, but cream foundation will harbor bacteria in your brushes. And if you do not, and your customers are not cleaning their brushes properly, weekly, even sometimes a couple of times a week, then their application will not be smooth and they will break out. Their skin will be irritated, and their makeup, they'll be wasting makeup and going through way too much makeup because their product is getting stuck in the bristles of the brush rather than going on their face like it should. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about troubleshooting some different types of skin, and hopefully answering questions about some different situations we get into as artists when we're meeting new people. Okay, so my general application for myself and for, you know, I would say normal skin. So they don't have, you know, they don't have acne, which is, this is not everybody, you know, most people have some things that you do have to troubleshoot. But for a general application for someone that's like, they're not teens, so they don't have like teenage acne, just kind of maybe, you know, 25 to, I don't even know, 45, they don't have acne, they don't have large pores, but just kind of combination skin, not too dry, not too oily. My general application is to, like for me, daily, I wash my face in the morning with milk. I tone with the toner, and I do not use the milk moisturizer in the morning under my makeup. I use a light SPF moisturizer. It's the one I prefer, which is just personal preference and doesn't really matter, but I use a light sunscreen moisturizer. It's made by Oil of Olay. It's for sensitive skin, and I get it at Target. And it literally looks and feels like a sunscreen. It's very, very light, and that's all I use under my makeup. So a light moisturizer, and I don't go right to applying my, let me just show you really fast. So hopefully he'll get out of here. But you guys, is my dog like the cutest dog in the world? Toby, you gotta go upstairs. Go. Hopefully he won't come back. Okay. So my general application, yeah, is I wash, tone, moisturize, and then I don't jump right to foundation. I do my eyes first. So I do whatever it is, you know, my, if I have time to do eyeshadow or just lashes, mascara, whatever it is, I do my eyes before the rest of my face. And I do that so that my moisturizer soaks into my skin, so that I'm not putting makeup right over top of really moisturized skin. I'm giving it a minute to soak in. And I also do that so that I don't have, you know, like fallout from my eyeshadow on my foundation. I always do my eyes first, or do your brows first. Do something first so that you know that moisturizer is soaked into your skin. Okay. So I let that moisturizer soak in, and then I spray the Stay Spray before I start. So I spray the Stay Spray, and I do this generally on most of my customers. I'll go into when I wouldn't do that, but I do spray the Stay Spray before. I don't use a primer for the most part. I used to use a primer on myself with every other type of makeup, and I did with mascara at the very first, but I don't anymore. I only use the Stay Spray, and then I highlight, contour, and blush. And then I spray the Stay Spray again. Once the and I'm very, I spray a lot of Stay Spray on. If you've seen any of my tutorials or anything, you know, like the Stay Spray is like dripping down my face. So I'm not light on the Stay Spray, both before and after. So I highlight, contour, and blush, spray again. Then I use Airspun powder. And then the very end, the last step is illuminator. So I powder and then illuminator, because if I use the illuminator, powder over top, you're not really gonna be able to see the illuminator on my face if I put powder over top of it. So I want that glowing skin where I want it, so that's why I powder first and then illuminator very last. I also use 2 highlights on most of my people. My color matching through pictures or my one-on-one makeovers, and on myself, I think 2 highlights is a big reason why the application isn't perfect. There's so many reasons why you would use 2 highlights, and that will go into color matching, but I'll just give you for instance, I have dark circles, naturally dark circles under my eyes, so I use Mango under my eyes, and then Aura. Today I actually have White Peach on, but I normally use Aura as my main color, but I do use Mango just to get rid of the blue color under my eyes. If someone has a ton of redness in their skin, in their cheeks or chin or nose, I hear all the time that the product isn't staying on their nose. Like they cannot get it to like adhere to their nose, and that's normally a color application or a color match issue. They need a darker highlight. They need 2 highlights. They need Amber or Mango over the redness areas, or Sunlit, you know, or June. So anyways, the color issue thing is another subject for another day, but 2 highlights is, I would even venture to say 90% of people, unless they are one color, their chest, their neck, their face, it's all just one color. They don't have dark circles. I mean, think of how many people you know that are like that. Not very many people. So I am generally color matching everybody to 2 different highlight colors. Okay, so now we'll get on, okay, and this is like huge. This is like one of my biggest recommendations is light-handed, is to, any other makeup they've ever used, liquid, powder, I was thinking about it, you know, whether you apply with a brush or you applied with your fingers, even a liquid foundation, you know, you squeeze it into your hand and you kind of rub it in, or if you applied it with a brush, you're covering your entire face with one color foundation. And that's what we are trained to think. Our whole lives we've used one color foundation, and we cover every inch of our face with one color. And that's what customers need to learn, and that's what I still kind of need to learn not to do. This product is very pigmented, and a little bit goes a long way. So if you apply it the way Kara teaches you to apply it, which is like a little triangle under each eye, down the bridge of the nose, a little bit on the forehead, a little bit on the chin, and slightly up towards your ears, you know, like your earlobes up towards your jawline. And then just the contour, like you're not covering, when you're first applying it, you're not covering every inch of the face. You're just applying lightly in those areas, and then you're using the brush and the sponge or whatever to blend it and get it cover everywhere else. You know what I mean? So I think that people use way too much makeup, and then it settles, and then it creases, and then it melts off. So if they can figure out that the less is more with this product, they will go through so much less product. It will stay on, it will cover, it will last. So light-handed. I heard the other day one of my girls was saying they tell their customer 2 taps. So like, I should have a palette out with me, but you know, this is my brush, just tap, tap, apply. So you're not like digging in the makeup. You're not like, you're not getting a ton. If you can see a ton of makeup on your brush, that's too much makeup. She just teaches them 2 taps and then apply and blend. And then once you feel like you don't have any more, 2 taps, apply and blend. But you are not like scraping the makeup out of the tins. If you apply with your fingers, again, you only need a little bit in those areas, because once you blend, it will go all over the face and give you plenty of coverage. Okay, so oily skin or like hot, humid climates. You know, oily skin. Everybody has heard, like, it doesn't stay on my face, my skin's oily, I can't use a cream because I have oily skin. Well, you can, if you do it the right way. I live in Utah, so I definitely, sorry, I'm just seeing how long I've been going. So I definitely live in dry area, but I am at the lake all summer long. I'm at the pool all summer long. It's hot, it's very hot here, so I definitely sweat, you know, with it on, and I feel like if you apply it right, you can get it to work for any skin type, including oily skin. So my tips for oily skin is either no or very light, very little moisturizer before. I know a lot of people with oily skin do not use a moisturizer in the morning. They only moisturize at night. And they just, you know, wash and tone in the morning before they put on their makeup. So stay spray for sure, stay spray. I mean, I sell stay spray to every person anyway, dry or oily, but especially oily. They will spray the stay spray before and after. And they sometimes, depending on how oily they are, they will spray even twice, you know. Spray it, let it soak in, spray it again. That stay spray is gonna soak up the oil, so that there's something that makeup to adhere to and not just slide off that oil. So no light moisturizer or no moisturizer, stay before and after. I don't use a primer very often, but if someone is so super oily, has big pores, I will use a mattifying primer. So I do carry I come prepared. So even though I don't use a primer for myself or very often for customers, it is in my makeup box. And if they're very oily and I need to soak up some of that oil, then I will use the 3 that I like are Smashbox. That's the one that's always in my the Smashbox Photo Finish, the MAC Prep and Prime, and the Benefit Professional one. So I like those. What I also think is huge for oily skin is to bake. If you haven't heard of the term baking, to bake with a powder. Airspun is my favorite. There are other ones that are good, but I personally do not think that vanilla dust is enough for really, really oily skin. So baking is and mainly in their highlight areas, because that's the areas that are most oily anyway, usually for oily people, is their chin, is their T-zone, and sometimes, you know, in this area. So I will use Airspun and I apply it really heavy. If you don't know what Airspun is, it's just a translucent setting powder from Walmart or Amazon. It's about $6. You get a ton of it. It'll last you forever. And you don't feel bad baking with it because you put on a really heavy amount in the highlight areas mostly, so you can see, like, it looks like flour on their face almost. So you'll apply it in those areas, let it sit. That's what it means to bake, is to let it sit for a minute, soak up any excess oil, and then, you know, blend the rest away. So baking with powder will be a huge, huge benefit and huge help for oily skin. But if you utilize the setting spray and powder, you'll be able to combat that oil. And sometimes, not very often, but sometimes a mattifying, oil reducing primer will really help as well. Okay, so that leads me into large pores. People with large pores are usually, their pores are usually big around their right here lower cheeks, around their nose and their nose themselves and chin area. And they say the makeup is enhancing their pores. So 90% of the time, that's a color match issue. So I think that's hard for people to wrap their brain around too, that if they're having texture issues like that, like it's accentuating their pores or making their skin look flaky and creasy, it's a color match issue, and we will go over that too. But normally you want to go to a darker highlight color to reduce their pores first. So amber and mango, I feel like, are really common ones to reduce pores, even if they're a light highlight like Aura or white peach. You still, like on their nose or where their pores are the biggest, you'll want to stipple on a little bit of a darker highlight first before you go over it with the other one, because that's just what works for large pores, is a little bit of a darker highlight. And then what I was going to say too is for large pores, you want to stipple, and for the most part, stipple or press the makeup into the skin rather than swiping. I mean, I never am like going to town like really swiping the makeup on. I'm pressing or doing really, really light circular motions to get the makeup to, go into their skin and not just rub right off. Okay, so utilize the perfector sponge. So if you are going over those porous areas with a darker highlight, just use the perfector sponge, whether you prefer it lightly damp or not. Most people do want to, and when we say a damp perfector, that means very lightly damp. You do not, like, I put, for one, very little water on it in the first place, and then I completely squeeze it out. I'll even get a towel and put it over top of the perfector and get out any excess water. So there's just the littlest bit of moisturizer in there to blend that darker highlight before you blend the lighter highlight on top for those pores. But you really utilize the perfector sponge. I did make the mistake when I first started that I thought I don't have large pores, so I never sold the perfector sponge. I was like, oh, nobody needs the perfector sponge, They can get it to work with just the 30-second hack brush. And I do think most people can, or a lot of people can utilize just the 30-second hack brush, but a lot of people need that perfector sponge for different reasons, such as large pores. Next one, mature skin and wrinkles. Another one for the perfector sponge is going to be, and I'm talking mature skin as in, the deep forehead wrinkles, the deep wrinkles around the eyes, the deep wrinkles around the smile line and chin area. The perfector sponge, when they're, for the most part, maybe there's people that don't have this opinion, but for the most part, women of age, mature skin, wrinkles, they usually don't need a lot of coverage. They don't usually have acne or scarring or anything that they need a lot of coverage on. They just need, they just want to highlight and contour. So this makeup, if you think of it as literally just highlighting the places that they want to highlight and contouring the places that they want contoured, and not as a mask, not as a cover up, then you'll be better about a lighter hand. And mature skin is one of my favorite customers, because they think a cream in my wrinkles, like, isn't it going to make my wrinkles look worse? And if you apply it very light-handed, because like I said, they don't have anything usually on their skin when they're older into heavy wrinkling, they don't have stuff on their skin that they need a ton of makeup on. So I say very light-handed. And then I was going to say the cream too, is very good for aging skin, because as we age, we tend to either normalize or lose a little bit of moisture in our skin because we're out of that hormonal stage, teenage acne, you know, adult acne when we are having babies and all of that. So women of age lose some of the moisture in their skin. The cream, the moisturizing effect of cream is going to be amazing on older women. So let's see. So light hand, perfector sponge every time. If there is wrinkles, you want the perfector sponge every single time. You want to apply light, but then you also want to get that perfector sponge, and usually very, very damp, or very light damp, just tiny bit of moisture in the perfector sponge, just to pick up any excess makeup over those wrinkles, on those forehead wrinkles, on the wrinkles around the eyes. You want to teach them to lightly sponge over those wrinkles to pick up any excess makeup that could settle in those lines throughout the day. So perfector sponge every single time with wrinkles. Finish with the stay spray. They don't necessarily need the stay spray before because they're not super oily, but I do always finish with the stay spray. And I also find that they don't necessarily need powder, and they're kind of afraid of powder. Usually older women think, isn't the powder gonna accentuate my wrinkles and sink into my wrinkles? And sometimes it does. So usually, and women, older women, aging skin just looks better with that really dewy glow, that really skin glow, because it just gives them a youthful glow, and that's why creams are so good for that type of skin. So if I ever do recommend a powder for them, it is usually Vanilla Dust, because it's a little bit lighter. Sorry you guys, my bangs are driving me nuts. But still very, very little. I think that the setting with the stay spray is enough of a setting effect without needing powder on mature skin. Okay, dry skin. So a cream, again, it's moisturizing. It's really, really good for dry skin. Those things that I was talking about, like Shape Tape. If you've heard of Shape Tape concealer, it's a really popular concealer. It's an expensive concealer by Tarte, Estee Lauder Double Wear. That stuff is too drying on dry skin, and cream is so, so good for dry skin. But if they're really dry, like flaky dry, like kind of irritated dry, I never put stay spray on before, and sometimes not stay spray at all. I still usually do after, but never before. If you use stay spray before and after and you're really dry, it will just dry you out more. So only after, if at all. And again, very little powder. If they're super dry, they don't need powder usually. If they do, Vanilla Dust is great for that. Airspun might be a little bit too much for really dry skin. Moisturize before. I was saying with oily skin, they may not need moisture right before. They definitely don't usually, and even combination skin sometimes don't want to moisturize before. But dry skin definitely needs moisture. If you're seeing like I said, really dry, they feel like irritated, they need moisturizer, and a lot of times even the milk moisturizer is good for dry skin, even right before the makeup. Dry skin, I encourage them, really encourage them to take care of their skin as far as exfoliating, shaving their face. Shaving your face gets rid of that peach fuzz, but it also gets rid of that dry, dead skin that's just sitting on top of your skin that is creating a barrier between your healthy skin and the makeup. So it's not adhering to, if you have dry, dead skin cells that you are not exfoliating off or shaving off with a Tinkle razor. That's what I always recommend off of Amazon. Cure is the exfoliator that I recommend. But if there is dry, dead skin cells on their face that they haven't gotten rid of, the makeup won't adhere as well. So encourage them to take care of their skin. And sometimes you really do need a hydrating primer depending on how dry it is. So there are times for primers and there's times that they don't need it. Okay, so the last one that I'll go over, and then I'll answer some questions if you guys have any. Okay, is acne. And this is kind of a subject that I don't know, I've had some questions about it lately. And well, here, I'll just tell you about it. So acne, or really, really like, I don't even know, like severe redness where it's like irritated rosacea almost, not just like general rosacea, but really irritated rosacea, or severe acne in their, you know, in their cheek, chin, forehead area. First of all, you all should know this if you've, you know, watched any of Kara's videos, but you use the highlight as their concealer. Just because they have acne, you know, in areas on their chin or forehead, that doesn't mean they need a heavy application everywhere. You just spot treat with the highlight on the blemishes themselves. And you do that by, I use the Multitasker's a very popular one to conceal blemishes with. And you'll just spot treat, like bake. Again, baking means putting the product on, letting it sit a little bit so that it's just drying out a little bit. So you'll put their highlight on their blemish and let it do their brows or do something else while that's sitting on there. And then with the Perfector sponge usually, or lightly with the Multitasker, you'll just like very, very light, not take it off, don't take that highlight off, but just lightly blend it in so that it covers, so there's a heavier application in that spot, but it's blended in with the rest of the skin. If they are red or acne, that usually means that they're, not all the time, there's definitely dry acne and oily acne, but if they are oily acne, you want to start with the Stay Spray every single time to absorb some of that oil. You never ever want to contour over active red acne or dark pitted acne scarring. My friend has acne right in her contour area. She doesn't have, or she has acne scarring. She doesn't have active acne anymore, but her worst scarring is right here in her contour area. And she has like the pitted scars from teenage acne. And when I first applied it to her, when I first started, I just put the contour right there and it just made it stand out even more. So if they have acne in their contour areas, you want to apply with the highlight first. So a light application of highlight in that area first, and then lightly contour over top. But if you put a dark contour right into acne or acne scarring, it's just going to accentuate it and make it stand out more. Okay, so if you have active acne, like zits that are oily, that, you know, have oil like coming out of them, if you put the highlight right onto it, it's like oil and water. Lene was talking about it like a wet painting a wet wall, and the paint is wet, and you take something, you know, another paint color or that paint color and go over top of it, it's just going to pick it up. So if you have active acne, oily acne, and you just go right on top of it with that highlight, it's just like I said, oil and water. It will not adhere to oily acne. And you need to, for one, start with the Stay Spray, and then it's even beneficial to use the Vanilla Dust or Air Spun before you put the highlight on, to just spot treat with the powder first to really dry it up and soak up any of the oil that might still be there, so that the highlight can adhere and cover that spot. Okay. And again, if they have severe, you know, irritated rosacea or acne that's really red and angry and inflamed, you may need a darker highlight to get a little more coverage first. So a light hand of, depending, you know, mango or amber over top. If they're very fair, you may be going really light with even white peach and then finishing with moonlit or whatever. But light hand over, you know, really red severe acne or purpley colored acne or acne scarring, you may need a darker highlight, and then cover with their main color after that. Okay, I'm wrapping it up. I promise. This is getting long. Okay, so don't be afraid. Don't burn me at the stake for saying this, but if you've seen my post on the artist page, you've already heard this. But don't be afraid to recommend other products. If you have someone with whatever it is, severe acne or whatever it is, and you just cannot give them the coverage you know that they want and you know that they need, then recommend something else. Recommend Shape Tape. I used Shape Tape when I first started. I don't use it now because my skin has gotten significantly better and I don't need it, but I would be lying if I said I never had a case where I didn't need a more heavy duty drying, mattifying concealer like Shape Tape. So I would rather my customers like and buy and love, 80% of Maskcara products and use Shape Tape as a concealer than not buy anything at all and hate Maskcara because it didn't give them the coverage they need. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to say, like, to be afraid of recommending something else or recommending that they don't use vanilla dust and they use airspun instead. Like, you will be much more successful and your clients will love you and appreciate you and come back to you if you really sell them and share with them and show them what they really need and what they're going to really benefit from, even if a small percentage of that is not Maskcara products. They're going to be customers for life, and maybe their skin will do what mine did and it'll improve significantly over time, and they will slowly get rid of Shape Tape or a MAC primer or whatever over time, and they'll eventually only use Maskcara, but they're a customer for life and they are loving it and addicted to it just as much as you and just as much as you want them to be, because you showed them that it's okay, that right now that I can't give you exact everything you want with Maskcara, so just throw in something else with it and then it's perfect. So also what I was going to say too, there's been one in the little over a year that I have seen where a girl came in with such severe acne, like such severe acne that I thought nothing is going to cover that. I genuinely thought, like, even like what I'm saying, even those other products that are at Sephora or Ulta that are not a cream, that are, she had such severe acne, angry, purple, like I felt horrible for her, but I knew I couldn't sell her on a product. I knew I would be lying and dishonest, disingenuous to sell her on anything at that time. So you need to be okay with saying not right now. Like, it kind of goes along with what I was just saying, but not right now. And that girl she was perfect for the Tres Leches. She needed to take care of her skin first before I could, because if I would have sold her, highlight and contour, she never would have used it. She would have hated it. She never would have given it a try again because, like, oh my gosh, this stuff looks horrible. You know what I mean? So you have to be okay to say this isn't right for you, or it's not right now. But what is going to help you and what is going to be most beneficial for you in your life right now is, X, Y, and Z. And then come back to me in a month and let's go over it again or whatever. So yeah, I really will wrap it up, but I think I went over all of that. Let's see. So yeah, the last thing I was going to say is don't send them out the door unless you're 100% about it and that they're 100% about it. So don't put on, you have a girl sit in your chair and you put on, she's amber, she's amber, you put it on and it's accentuating her pores, or you know what I mean, or it's not covering like you thought, but you're like, and she's saying, oh yeah, it looks good, like, thanks, I want this and this, but it's not perfect, and it's not what is going to be what's going to benefit her forever. You need to be vulnerable enough to say, let's wipe that off. Actually, I think this is, something else is going to work better. Like, I thought you were amber, but you're actually June, or whatever. Don't be afraid to be genuine and be vulnerable and wipe it off or try something else. You don't want to just get the sell. You do not want to just get the sell. You want to troubleshoot their skin, ask them about their lifestyle, ask them about their skincare routine, figure out what they're doing so that they're customers for life. Because we are not trying to get a sale today, we're trying to get a customer for life. And that is what's gonna keep your business forever. So, and that is working smarter, not harder. Like, it's a little bit hard in the moment to have them take it off or to admit that you were wrong. But in the end, you're gonna get customers forever, and you're gonna have them coming back to you forever and trusting you forever because you were genuine and authentic and took the time with them at first. And I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up. I always go longer than I thought. Hopefully that helped, but I'll scroll through the top and see if I can answer any questions. Oh, and you guys can ask questions. Obviously not everybody's watching it live, so let us know if you're watching it on replay and what questions you or your customers have. Okay. And hopefully this is open discussion too. If you see a question on here, a comment, and you have the answer, don't be afraid to answer, because I'm not all knowing. I don't know everything, I promise. Okay, let's see. Oh, I do have a mascara on, L'Oreal Telescopic, but I have Kiss lash extension or lash strips on from Amazon. Lulu, I'm so glad you stayed up to watch me. Okay, so eyelash question again, yes. L'Oreal Telescopic with Kiss lashes. I think it's tagging people. I'm not seeing questions. Let's see, I love this makeup. Oh, I'm not seeing a lot of questions. Hopefully I answered some of them. Skincare is key. Oh yes, I use Cure Aqua Gel. Kara recommended a couple of months ago the June Jacobs one, and I bought that one too, but I still love Cure the best. It's the best product ever. It's on Amazon. Rachel, I'm about to give you my dog, don't worry. Do you like a matte look or is your skin oily? Why do you prefer powder? I like a matte look, yes. And I feel like most people do. You know, probably 80% of my customers like a matte look. So like I said, I apply the powder mainly in my highlight areas, blend it in, and then I do like a glow though too. So I just like, and my makeup stays on longer. I don't touch up my makeup at all because I use the setting spray, the powder, but I illuminate on top. So I like it glowy, but I do like it matte too. Okay, would you suggest putting makeup on with your fingers? If you watch my tutorials, you know I apply with my fingers. That's just preference, but I always apply to customers and clients with a brush. I never apply with my fingers. Sorry, my iPad. I never apply with my fingers to customers, but it's just faster. I go through less makeup if I just apply with my fingers. That's just personal preference. Okay. Yes, less is more. What if someone doesn't want the contour on their face? Okay, so I definitely go into it with blush and contour. I go into it like I know what I'm talking about. I take into what they're saying and what what their opinion of it is. But I also really explain why highlighting and contouring and why blush is so essential to giving you that youthful, natural glow. You can still be like, I clearly like more of a dramatic look. I like my contour to be visible. But if you can make them understand what the highlight and contour is and why you're contouring, you're just doing what's natural to your face. You're contouring the natural shadows of your face and highlighting the natural places that you want, where the sun shines, that you want people to look at. I feel like, and if you say like, we'll go light on the contour, we'll start with walnut or aspen, even if you think they need ash or indigo or whatever, just like say, just ease into it. I know it's a new concept, but once you see the difference and showing them the difference of one color, like literally take their picture with just highlight on, take their picture with highlight and contour, show them the difference, and most people will be sold. I never sell just the highlight, ever. Okay. You love Airspun. Airspun's the best setting powder ever. Okay. Are you saying apply highlight with a sponge or after stippling with brush? I'm not sure what part you asked that. I apply with customers, I apply the highlight. I just utilize the perfector sponge at the end. So I apply the highlight and contour, and I blend mostly with the brush, but at the very end, especially on mature skin, I will use the Perfector sponge and kind of blend and dab all over just to make sure there's no harsh lines. It's all blended and I'm picking up any excess makeup. Okay, can you send these notes too, please? Oh my gosh, seriously, you guys want my chicken scratch? I like took so many notes. I could take a picture of it and put it in the notes if you want. Okay, Amanda Hill, are you serious? You are so nice, thank you. Okay, Cure, I don't think there's more than one Cure. Just Cure on Amazon. I don't think that I've never seen more than one like type. Cure is just Cure. Okay, are there different types of Cure? Oh no, just the Cure Aqua Gel, that's the right one. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of questions. I was just asked, why is it better to use a cream contour than a powder? Oh my gosh, so many reasons for that. When I was using Estee Lauder Double Wear a week ago for like, I just got a sample to try, I could not contour with anything else but our contour. So I used Estee Lauder Double Wear where I use my highlight, but the contour and our creams are so forgiving. So if you use a powder to contour, once it's there, it's there. And same with a liquid. Like if you get it too heavy, too dark, too high, too low, whatever, it's there and you can't change it. You'd have to wipe it off to start over. The creams are very, very forgiving. They blend very easily. Like I would never suggest using our highlight all over and then contouring with the powder because they just are two completely different textures that won't blend very good. And if you get the contour too high, too low, too close to your mouth, too close to your eyes, you can kind of blend it right back in place where you want it because the cream is movable, blendable. It's like almost like I always say it feels like a sculptor, an artist sculpting like a clay, you know, a clay, whatever you want to call it, statue or whatever. You can move it to where you want it. So yeah, I would never ever use a powder contour. Okay. Oh, my notes. Okay, I think that, oh, why are they yellow base? Kara has gone into that, but because they're yellow base because most everybody needs yellow base makeup. Orange, there's a lot of orange based makeups on the market that make people look that's why people hate makeup. It makes them look too orange, look too cakey, and it's lit from within. It makes you look glowing. It's like you always have the perfect lighting. You always look airbrushed because it's a yellow based makeup. Okay. Let me know if you have any more questions. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this wasn't way too long. I apologize if it was. Have a good night. Let me know if you have questions. See you guys.